see, I'm one of these guys who says that was a hell of a play that guy made on defense.
Incredible.
Like a great play. Pratt.
One hand.
No relation to Casey.
I'm going to give you one.
That's all it deserves. Yeah, so anyway, I thought that was a heck of a play. How you guys doing? Willard and Dibs in the house.
What's up, boys?
It's the crossover.
Indeed it is.
Who would have thunk it, Mark?
We screamed at each other early, but we're good now.
Yeah, I can always tell what kind of show it was when you and I come in and have our little pre-crossover talk. I'm like, oh, Goose, your voice a little hoarse.
Oh, no, that's not.
That?
Something's going on, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was at the zoo with the kids.
I will say this, and I've told you this 100 times. One of the things that makes you an infectious personality is the fact that everything is right there on your sleeve, and you speak well to what you're feeling in this given moment. What is also funny about that in a moment like today?
I knew that. Go ahead.
Well, I'm listening to you all day kind of do the I'm sorry for jumping to conclusions.
Yeah, right.
But you're apologizing for jumping to a conclusion by jumping to another one. And I want to know if you hear that. I want to know if you hear that. We don't need to do this. And whether it's about Brock or the defense or anything else for that matter, we don't need to define everything every week. So that's my thing. Like, we don't need to come in. I know, everybody get. Right. You better admit you were wrong about Brock Purdy if you were Brock Purdy. No, you don't. You're not wrong yet. The same way you weren't right before.
Snoop Dogg had a great album, to just piggyback off that point, called Charge It to the Game. And Willard, I do that because I try to keep myself accountable. I'm not predicting the future, but I can't hide, Dibs, that I thought this kid, and he didn't do it, Brock didn't do it to himself, was going to be perfect for the rest of his life.
Right,
so
right.
I'm not used to seeing what we've been seeing. It's 3 games.
But you didn't think that. We all sat here, look, interceptions
Willard, you're right, but let's be honest real quick. It was going on a long time.
Oh, yeah, it looked good.
Now, in this defense, they destroyed Dallas and they've disappeared. Like, I got to speak to that and hold myself accountable for I was in the pool swimming like.
Everyone was. And how could you not be? Because they were playing that well.
Now.
And when you look at the biggest issues this team has, you can look at Brock Purdy in fourth quarter turnovers. That's fine. It's a big issue. But the defense is a bigger issue.
Agreed.
When you have a team that has not been able to run the ball all year, when they are running it straight at you, not a lot of trickeration, as we like to say. It was Joe Mixon straight up the gut,
shoulders,
B gap, C gap, and your D line is getting pushed out of the way, and your linebackers are coming up and making tackles or not, and they're getting 5, and they're getting 7, they're getting 8, they're in second and short, and then you get them into third and long, and you're not getting the quarterback down. And their receivers are better than your corners, and you're playing from behind, and you're not built to play from behind, and you can't run the ball yourself either. So, yeah, the quarterback is making fourth quarter mistakes, and those are 2 inexcusable mistakes that he made, but that's not the quote-unquote reason you lost.
That's wow.
Yeah. You brought up something about the weapons.
You said the Bengals... He said the Bengals' weapons are better than the 49ers' defensive backs. No?
Well, yeah, no, he did.
That's what I said.
Yeah. I know. I've lost my train.
What I said.
I've completely lost my train of thought.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
I was listening.
No, you said.
It was amazing.
No.
Proud of you.
I heard it.
You said.
Come a long way.
Recall everything. I did it. Mama, I did it.
Before I forget again, you said they're not built to come from behind. Or they don't like.
Yeah.
But,
this is interesting.
But I guess my thing is why? Like they're supposed to have this dynamic offense. I know teams are different when they're behind.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something that we're going to play for everybody today, and I haven't even heard it totally pieced apart myself because it was happening in a live conversation. But Kyle Rudolph last night on the Fox show said he's played in this system. Now, he's not played for Kyle Shanahan, but he's played under a Gary Kubiak system, the Shanahan tree, if you will. And he said that 0-36 stat that we started tossing around last week, 0-36, Shanahan, when trailing by 8 or more going into the fourth quarter.
It's crazy.
He didn't say it was crazy. He said, is not an accident. Now, this is somebody who played offense in the system.
Well, damn.
And he's telling you, and we've batted this around a little bit, but to hear it from somebody who's been on the field in the system, to me, was very different. And to hear him essentially say that all of the ingenuity that Kyle Shanahan brings to play calling, all of the movement, the things that make a defense get confused, and why it's so effective, they are not that when you're down by 2 scores in the fourth quarter. It confuses no one. And therefore, does the Kyle Shanahan most complicated offense in the game become a big bowl of vanilla ice cream when you're down by 10 in the fourth quarter? This, to me, is, if you want to talk about the offensive problems of the Niners, specifically also to Brock, why does he keep looking great for 3 quarters? And then the problems come in the fourth. That goes hand in hand, I think, with what we're saying here. That's the question I have. Is there essentially a flaw in the system, which is to say this offense is only really good if it's playing from ahead?
But don't you still got to execute, though?
Of course.
The players got to execute whatever you call.
But everybody in the NFL is running a quote-unquote system. And you're doing things to confuse a defense. And if the defense is suddenly no longer confused, and that means you just become a shell of yourself in that moment, I mean, 0-36.
Wow.
0-37 now, I think.
Well, I don't know if they were down by – were they down by 8 or more at the start of the fourth quarter?
17-10 yesterday.
They were down by 7. So
at the end of 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but
so
whatever.
That one doesn't qualify.
Point well taken.
Well, when you
0 for 36.
No matter what your system is, when you're behind and you have to throw it, and they know you have to throw it, it comes down to your guys against their guys. And right now, the Niners guys, when they have to go 3 wide, and they played without Juszczyk a lot yesterday, Steiny, I'm sure made you very happy, but they went 3 wide receivers a lot yesterday. And when you're going to Jennings, Ayuk, and Ray McLeod, it's not going to be as effective as if you have Higgins and Jamar Chase, for example.
Man.
Or, you could pick a lot of different teams where you have more weapons. The Niner offense is built to rely on McCaffrey. Kittle as a blocker more than anything. Deebo Samuel, who's out. Trent Williams. If you have Trent, you'll be able to run the ball. To me, the most telling thing of the entire game was the opening drive. First play from scrimmage. They don't go to Trent's side. They go right, 8.5 yards. And then McCaffrey again, nothing. Juszczyk, nothing. Now we got to punt the ball.
And
they couldn't get a yard.
D linemen now. I guess Minnesota debuted that on the Niners. Like, you ain't coming up. Them days are over.
Yes.
Lombardi tweeted it. I agree with him. Sometimes you simplify this conversation. There are a lot of problems and nobody's innocent. But in the NFL, if one side can run the ball and the other side can't, you're dead.
Wow.
You're dead. So you could talk about Brock. I don't know what's causing it. Is it Trent's absence? They stopped running the ball right when he got hurt.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it's a big piece of it, but I don't think a team gets to use that ever as an excuse to where, like, well, one player is gone and you crumble. You can't be that. Your other players have to at least be able to be a portion of whoever they're replacing. So I don't know the answer. I certainly don't know it on defense. Why the 49ers? You could never run the ball against this 49er defense.
What has happened?
And now, average running backs, good running backs, somewhere in between, everybody is running the ball on them. And if you can't stop the run and you can't get a first down with your run, you're dead in this
JD
league.
just joined us not too long ago, and we asked him a wish list if you could make a trade. And he didn't say take this to the bank, but he said a D lineman. Yeah. I said to myself, hell no. You got lucked into Gregory from where you got him from much enough. I mean, this is big. I feel like you could put Lawrence Taylor on that line right now, and they're not getting run. Like, something fundamentally is going on. I don't know what it is, but how are you not touching the quarterback?
Well, you do need, and Gregory's been nice for 25 plays a game, but he's not a run-stopping D end. You need somebody who can set the edge on the other side and stop the run, for one. And the other thing you need badly is somebody who can cover. And you watch Isaiah Oliver yesterday, and he played great against the run. He played, if he was a linebacker yesterday, he would have had a great game. He was hitting.
What about the air, though?
Well, we're going to get to the air. I'm going to go ahead and lead with the praise.
That's the only problem.
Wait do you hear the number.
As a parent, you lead with the praise. You know what, little Johnny, I'm happy you got that B+ in geometry. I'm really proud of it, but you know what? He crashed the car. Now let's talk about Isaiah Oliver in the air. That wasn't even a double move. That I'm blocking. No, I'm not. And Isaiah Oliver got caught by Jamar Chase. Easy walk-in touchdown. How many yards did he give up? What was the passer rating against?
I got a better the extension of that stat. Listen to this. And
He's not normally a numbers guy either.
Well, Larry's son, who helps him with his work, just tweeted this out. You ready for this?
Sure.
Isaiah Oliver, in now 4 consecutive games.
Oh, don't do it, baby Krug.
Has allowed a completion percentage of
not 90.
100.
Oh, my goodness.
100%
against?
In 4 games now. When they throw the ball at Isaiah Oliver.
The only touchdown Dallas got was on Oliver.
100% completion percentage. 8 catches.
That's a small sample size, though.
It's only 8 throws, but it's 8 throws. It's 8 catches for 71 yards and 2 touchdowns.
The next man up has got to get a shot. If 4 games, Dibs, man, come on.
The next man up might be found tomorrow by 1 o'clock. Is my point.
And remember, Isaiah Oliver is not just a player. He is, whether this is fair or not, he is representative of something. He is representative of Steve Wilks. Steve Wilks stood on a table and demanded that this was the guy for this position. This was the new addition that had.
Did he really stand on the table?
Steve Wilks, I don't know that, but
because you said it so authoritatively, I thought
maybe. I don't know how his personality.
Did I miss a piece of news?
I did too.
I missed a nugget.
This was Steve's guy. This was Steve fought for this, and this was Steve Wilks' guy. And so I know that how it sounds right now when people, it's a little too easy to just blame the coordinator, players have to play. I hear all those things. They're true, but I'm sorry, there's a problem here. There is a problem with Steve Wilks. I don't know if moving down to the sideline fixes it. I don't know what fixes it. What I know is that has to be the number one focus of the bye week. Your coverage schemes are not working with your pass rush schemes. They are the opposite of puzzle pieces that are fitting together right now, and great players suddenly look average, and it's not one, it's all of them. There is a Steve Wilks problem that this team needs to address in the next 12 days.
I don't want to run him out of town. I asked my partner.
No, we're not like.
Do you take play calling duties from him? What are the options? Or this is just his baby to figure out?
Well, it depends on how far down this thing continues to sink. Because the one thing that you need to have what they call complementary football, where the offense keeps it for a long time, possesses it, the defense stays fresh, or the defense goes out there and coaxes a 3-and-out so the offense can go back and go to work. And right now the D's on the field way longer than they need to be, and when the offense gets the ball, too often they're not cashing it in. Brock with that pick inside the 10-yard line on a run play.
That you missed the handoff.
Yeah, so you missed the handoff, and you see the side judge or the line judge, he's got his hand on the flag because he knows.
That was the worst one.
He knows that these linemen are downfield. So as soon as Brock Purdy throws it and it gets snatched, he throws the flag because even the referee knows it's a run play because he saw all the linemen run downfield. So that one to me was a mental thing where he's got to know you can't throw the ball, and then the very next throw is a Jimmy G throw.
Which is exactly, by the way, what he said in the postgame. You're spot on. Like, in that moment, his field awareness has to be.
Oh, we just played.
You just got to run. And if you only
fall down.
If you get nothing, you get nothing. Fall down. Don't take a penalty. Don't put the ball in harm's way. It was I won't call him a rookie mistake because he's not a rookie.
Youth.
It was a young player mistake. Yeah. Absolutely.
Still in his first 17 games, so technically still a rookie in terms of starts.
He's been around the team for 2 years.
You used the P word, which I can't believe we waited until 2:03 to actually break out because they are number 1 in the league in penalties.
Tied with Buffalo, 55.
That comes down to attention to detail, and that falls on, well, it's got to fall on me and stuff because I'm the head coach and stuff, and ultimately, and that's where he's got to take a long look in the mirror and figure out what he's not doing right in terms of getting these guys prepared because the number of penalties is, it's way too many.
It's sloppy.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco. Always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch and YouTube, powered by First NorCal Credit Union. You guys were talking about where the running game's gone. See, I think it's got to be a combination of things because it started 3 games ago when I think McCaffrey was banged up. Then they lost Trent Williams, and Debo was ineffectual against the Browns. But so they've been, for the last 3 weeks, essentially, they've been missing Trent Williams, Debo Samuel, and McCaffrey maybe is a little banged up right now. Maybe that's the answer.
I also think that teams out there have a bit of a book on the 49ers offense. They know what the Niners like to do.
Wow.
They know where they like to run the football. And you mentioned it, Goo, right off the top.
I couldn't
the Bengals
believe that.
put 5 up. They got 3 down. They got the 2 defensive ends
Many did it
up.
too.
Exactly. And Cleveland beat you up in the ground game. So I think that there's a definite blueprint. So now Kyle's got, 12 days or 13 days to figure out how he can come up with new ways to run the football.
Willard, give me this, because I gave it to Steiny, you and Dibs. I don't do agenda radio. I don't have an agenda. I love football, but we talked about Brock. Was he rushed in there? And to me, it meant something, because I felt like, you know what? They didn't have to put him out there. He cleared protocol. He played.
Oh, you're talking about the concussion.
What if I told you I just thought the Niners took 2 L's yesterday, and the second L is only in my book? When he got that hit below the knees, where he threw the pick, got saved from the pick, got the ball back, but to have that head bounce off that carpet and hear Romo Nance, we know the history. Tell me what to do with. I just thought it was a bad look. Like, you almost escaped not getting them, but and Purdy got up and fit. But
you're not alone. You're not alone in the thought.
It just bothered me, man, it really did.
You're not alone in the thought, and there have been more than one health professionals who have expressed concern about it, and then there's been more than one who have said, well, this is the way it works. I did have, after the conversation we had last week, and the doctor who said players can talk their way through the concussion protocol by just saying,
I didn't hear that.
I feel, no, this is a doctor now that's not involved in it. He said, players know, so just keep telling everybody that you're fine. So another conversation that I sought out some people who have been through concussion protocol and tried to work their way through it. And I asked, can you talk your way through it? Absolutely categorically deny that that's even possible. They're like, if you are feeling symptoms, these tests that you have to pass are so rigorous that they will absolutely spark those symptoms and put you in a really bad spot mentally in that moment, and physically, potentially, if you are actually still feeling symptoms. Again, I'm just trying to learn here because I don't know how the concussion protocol works, and I'm not a doctor. So all I can do is go back to what we said last week, what Steiny and I both said. This protocol is in place. If you're clear, you're clear. They're like, this is it's probably not this, but I have no choice but to look at it as a black and white thing. Like, are you clear? Then you play. And if you're not, you don't. So,
and if you play, what you do when you play is how you play.
And Romo
that's the way I say it.
Romo said
Shanahan said as much in the postgame, too.
It's not an excuse for any picks. Yeah, absolutely not.
No, I've heard some people who are trying to excuse last week's picks, and then
that's a very big difference.
Okay,
yeah.
I mean, I can beg to differ with
we got into it about that.
Yeah,
but it was fresh right after 6 minutes left.
But yesterday's head bounce was after the pitch.
No, it was.
Right,
he didn't come back on the field.
Right. No, but once he cleared protocol, the concussion issue's off the table in terms of blaming anything from this game against the Bengals.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And all I'm saying is the game before that, when he got hit with 6:20 to go, I mean, he may have been concussed at that point.
Who knows?
He was not concussed on yesterday.
Yeah, my bigger point was if they had a game, Steiny, this week, would that hit have affected his availability?
The one that just happened yesterday?
No idea.
He may have a concussion now.
I don't know how he feels right now. We didn't find about last week.
That's true.
48 hours after it happened.
That's right.
We didn't find out till Wednesday that he was in the protocol.
Now, Steiny and I have been in here 4 hours. I want to read this text to you from the 206 because I hope I'm not doing this. Do opponents get credit versus the Niners? So are we making it? I'm not making excuses. We gave Cincinnati their prop.
They gave Cincinnati this win 3 months ago, and I told you that this was
I didn't do that.
This was a scheduled defeat.
No,
it means
he called it preseason.
Yeah, we talked about it, and I said, you know what? That Cincinnati game is a scheduled loss. Cincinnati's coming off a bye. They're wrapping up 8 straight weeks of football. This is the kind of game that is set up for the Niners to lose. Now, you wouldn't have thought they would have lost 2 in a row before that one to make it 3 straight. I was thinking about this listening to you guys on the drive in. Let's say the Niners would have lost their first 3, and then they'd be riding a 5-game win streak like Jacksonville's riding a 5-pack. We'd all be feeling differently about 5 and 3.
No doubt.
But it's just because they've lost these 3 in a row that we're all going into Chicken Little Radio.
Well, I'd also say everybody always gets credit for everything they achieve, but we're in San Francisco. We're doing this through the perspective of the 49er fan. Everybody who watches football thinks their defense should stop every play and their offense should complete every play. That's being a fan. So I'm not going to apologize for this being through the perspective of the 49ers. Sure, the Bengals and Joe Burrow, he was fantastic yesterday. But to think that this defense, no matter how good Burrow is, because he looks like he's back to himself, no matter how good of a player he is, if you complete 19 straight balls against this defense, you got a problem. That is a problem. I don't care if Tom Brady and Joe Montana had a baby and he played quarterback yesterday. I don't care.
He was throwing that
thing. You had 19
some
straight.
Good throws in there.
He had almost as many TD passes as incompletions.
And what about the bumble they messed up at halftime? JD was saying the game shouldn't even been that close if you want to look at it through that prism.
What was that?
Cincinnati had a score and decided to get cute right before halftime and fumbled.
Yeah.
But if they go in for that one, and they got the ball after half, it's just – I'll tell you what, last 2 years, the Niners were 3-5 at the bye. They got hot. Went to the SC Championship. Last year, 4-4, got hot. So
I don't. You know what? I heard you say that earlier, and
it don't feel the same.
No, it doesn't. I wish it helped. I heard you earlier. You're like, I got something that's going to help. I'm like, hit me, Goo, and you said, I'm like, it didn't help.
Yeah, it didn't really help. It didn't do it.
It didn't help because it didn't help because A, I feel like this team is better than those teams. B, they were 5-0. Like every single week, it is through the prism of what we have experienced. So to be 5-0 and then suddenly be happy about 5-3 because they were 4-4 a year ago, no, they shouldn't be 5-3 right now. They just shouldn't.
I'll tell you what's alarming. Kirk Cousins was 35 for 45.
Mm-hmm.
And Burrow came in here and went 28 for 32.
Exactly.
92%.
That's 82% completion the last 2 games against the Niners.
And if you combine both of them on third down, they both went 180 for 181 for 1,000 yards. I don't know if you've heard that stat
on
yet.
third down.
Yeah, just on third down.
Including the one where Joe Burrow got sacked twice yesterday and didn't go down either time.
Wow. It is funny. That play's different. Maybe the game's a little changes.
Maybe.
But even with Cousins last week, they had him on that last drive.
He got out of there.
Exactly. And now they were ahead, and they needed to make a play to win that game.
Burrow threw a pick on opening drive. Oliver dropped it. I'm just saying.
This is what, look, and Cousins did get picked on the opening drive too, and they fumbled it right back. I don't, there are pieces, I firmly believe what I stated, there's a Steve Wilks problem, but at the same time, there's also stuff that I don't know.
Kyle's the captain of this whole ship.
No. I'm saying I don't know who could figure out why these guys suddenly can't tackle. What does that have to do with anybody else or anything else?
Kinlaw jumps off sides on a play that they weren't even going to run, and so they run it anyway, and they score a touchdown.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you're sloppy right now as a team.
It is a comedy of errors. It really is.
All right, gentlemen, well, you have a heck of a show, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow.